Before we build the big thing, we cleared the deck. The session had three loose ends. I've been carrying a weird GIT line ending in phantom that made files look changed when they weren't. A database security level layer, and I'd only ever spot checked, and then a chart on the database dashboard, and basically disappeared in dark mode. None of these are glamorous, and I have one rule that didn't break. Recon before repair. Before I touch anything, I go read the actual code and write down exactly what's there, file, line, evidence, and let myself stop and say, here's the real question. Instead of charging in with a fix I've already decided on, here's what's funny about doing that honestly. All three of these jobs got smaller once we actually looked. Not bigger, smaller. That's the whole story of this session. First one, the line ending phantom. The Git was showing a big document as changed when it actually was identical. Just stored one away and showed another. The plan I written down. Fix was scary. Add a rule that renormalizes the whole repository, which I figured would rewrite hundreds of files, including one I never disposed to touch, when other ones might be working just fine. But before I did any of that, we checked what Git had actually stored, and every single file, 100, all 801 of them, were already clean. The messiness only existed in my working copy, created by a setting on my machine, which meant the big, scary rewrite nothing. It was a non-op, so the whole fix became a one tiny configuration file. That's it. We almost did a migration we didn't even need. Recon is the only reason we didn't. Second one, the database security audit. Here's what kept me up a little. The table we were most sensitive stuff, people's emails, their plans, their payment IDs, didn't have its definition written down anywhere in our code. So was it secure? We ran a real audit. I read only against the live database, and the answer was yes. Every table is row level security switched on, and the logged out request gets nothing back. The assumption we carried for months, that the other tables carried the one good pattern, we finally confirmed it instead of hoping. The sensitive table was locked correctly. The only problem was paperwork. It existed only because the live database, not enough source code, but we couldn't rebuild it from scratch. So we wrote it down, and I'll be straight with you. That I found two smaller things we had not fixed yet. They were written down and now open, and we're dealing with that building in public. Third one, the dark mode chart. The chart radar basically vanished on the dark background. Dark brown on dark navy, and the bug ticket even told me which file it had to fix. It was wrong. The file name just calls the chart, and the actual drawing lives somewhere else, with the colors hard-coded right on the shapes. Now the obvious fix is to make the JavaScript notice dark mode and pick better colors, but when we traced how the theme switches actually works, it turns out to fire no signal at all, and the chart only draws once, so the JavaScript route would meant building extra plumbing across three files just to repaint. The latter fix was to hand the colors to CSS, take the shapes, define the dark palette, done. Flip the theme and then recolor it instantly. No redraw. Verify it live in both themes. The obvious fix was the harder one. Reading is how you find that out. People ask, why am I make this so complicated? Why not fix it? Here's the setup. The work moves along the 3 seats, one plan and a read. One makes every single change to one code. One test to see if the live site with the throwaway account. And the planner is not allowed to edit the repo. It can only read and check its own claims. That sounds slow and per step. It is. But every time work passes from one seat to the next, somebody has to actually look. It's a built-in review, and there's a rule I love. Before anything goes into the permanent record, I turn the claim into a one-line test and run it cold. So write-up is built on what the computer just showed me, not what I remembered. And that's the difference between I think it's fine and here's the command, here's the output. For a health app, the gap matters. So what's the lesson? 3 problems, 3 anticlimaxes, and that meant to be complicated twice. Reading the code didn't just tell us how to fix it. It told us there's nothing to fix in the first place. The migration didn't the leak wasn't just a leak. It was the most important habit I built into the project. Being willing to make a job smaller or delete an entire instead of powering through when one built alone. It's really tempting to measure progress on how much you change, but some of the best work is the whole session was work that we didn't have to do. Because we checked first, the cheapest bug in the world is the one we can prove that I never actually had. That's not being slow, it's being productive. So what does this leave us? The deck is clear. Line endings behave the same on new machine now. The database security is audited end to end with no way for one member to read another one's data. And the table that were only living in the live database are now written down in our code. And the progress chart is readable in the dark mode. I'll be honest about what still is open. A couple of security hardening tweaks and some privacy cleanup. All tracked, none of it live risk, but next we finally get to have the fun part. Letting you turn any measurement anywhere in the platform into a goal. But here's the thing, I kept coming back to this is the real tool people will make real decisions on about their bodies. A quietly wrong number is worse than a crash because nobody notices. So the boring rigor that makes these 3 fixes anticlimactic, that's not a detour from the building of the product, it is the product.